Today's podcast is brought to you by Introduction to Online Business Made Simple, a 6-part audio course that teaches you how to get started with your online venture. Find out more at usingyourpower.com/course.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to Using Your Power. My name is Maveen Kaura.
And I'm David Wiebe.
Hey, David, what is going on today?
We're going to look at 10 things you should change about your current habits.
Ooh, well, where did that come from?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
Okay, because I thought of it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just thought, I was kind of taking a look at my own personal habits and the things that I've been changing, over the course of the last 6 months to a year in my own life. I thought this would be kind of a neat topic to talk about and say, what should we be changing? What maybe should we be considering of changing as well? And what positive things can maybe come out of that by changing those certain habits?
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on what types of habits you have, what your routine looks like, what your work life or family life looks like. All those things are definitely going to factor into it. But here are certainly some things for all of us to think about.
Absolutely.
The first is losing sleep. I think that's something we should certainly change about our routine. What's the number one cause of death? Traffic accidents. What's the number one cause of traffic accidents? Sleepy people. So, I mean, losing sleep has just such massive ramifications all over. And when we sleep, we don't perform well. We're not able to do everything we're able to do or bring to ourselves to our work quite as fully. And we can even lose passion or end up with anxiety attacks and panic attacks or illnesses. So please sleep.
That goes back to you, David.
Yeah.
You should sleep once in a while too.
Oh, I know. My sleep has not been perfect the last week and a half or so. I'm working on it.
You will. You just have to put your head down and go to sleep. That's how simple it can be. One of the things I was actually hearing on the radio on the way to record today was they were talking about the lack of sleep in people and the potential connection to Alzheimer's.
Yes.
So what they were saying is when we go to sleep, there's our bodies and our brains actually clean everything out. And if we don't get the right amount of sleep, it can leave plaque buildup in our brains, which can cause bigger health problems down the road. So definitely another great reason to get your 6 to 7, 8 hours of sleep and stay in bed.
I would even suggest 7 to 8.
There you go. Well, yeah, 6 probably may not be enough.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of goes with sleeping is eating. I know a lot of us enjoy eating and we think we're eating the right amount of food and eating the right types of food. I know recently, like I was saying, I just recently started working out and really started looking at health and food and what I've been putting in my body. I realized, one, I wasn't eating enough and I thought I was eating enough.
Yep. That's easy to do.
Yeah, it was so tough because I thought I was eating too many carbs and I was looking at, oh man, I'm not even eating enough carbs based on the workouts that I wanted to do. So I found that was really important when I looked at the amount of macros that I was getting for my diet, and I had to make sure I was getting enough protein based on my weight, carbs, fats, all based on that weight as well, and the right amount of calories based on how much I was working out. And now just making that slight change and actually making a meal plan for myself has started making some huge changes that I can start seeing in my body and the way I look and feel and my energy levels as well.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. Obviously, I've been making a lot of changes this year, so it's still about, optimizing and figuring out what's best for the body and also what I feel I can eat or what I'm more drawn to as opposed to what makes me feel, or things that should make me feel good but don't make me feel good.
I'm drawn to pizza, burgers, fries, but I know those are things we shouldn't be eating.
Yeah. I guess not in that sense, but, because we all love that stuff. Yeah. We've been talking a little bit about networking lately. So another thing that I brought up here was not following up with people you meet. I think this is something we know we should do, but we're guilty of not doing it a lot of the time. We'll meet somebody at a networking event or maybe even just if you're a musician at a performance. If you're at a job, then maybe there was a conference and you met somebody and you just never follow up with them. I mean, there's not always a reason to follow up and try to add value to them unless you're able to add value to them in a relevant way. But more often than not, I would say even just saying hi and saying thank you can go a long way.
Absolutely. Great example there, David. One thing, it kind of works kind of along with what you're saying, maybe a little different, but a lot of times with us going to networking events, we think if we're dealing with the technology that we have in our hands, we're thinking we're networking and we're doing it properly. And we spend a lot more time sometimes just being on Facebook and all the different social medias thinking that we're doing all the right things in order to grow our business. And sometimes we are. And most of the times you might start off with that idea, but then you end up wasting a lot more time on there. One of the things we can start doing is maybe putting down some of this technology, and like you said, if there's no place to add value, then don't add value until you have something to add value for. So sometimes same thing, right? Put down that technology and go spend some time, with your family and spend some time with your friends. In the end, those are real people that are going to be really important to you, not necessarily all the people on social media that you may not know.
Yeah, I would say that's huge, especially today. Another habit I think we can all give up on is giving up too easily, because we get into some kind of venture, a business, a job, a new relationship, and then we go, you know what, forget it. It's just not going to work out. But if you haven't really given it a fair chance and it looks like it's something that could be rewarding and help you grow as a person, then we should stay in it, because, I mean, our divorce rates are sky high. So why do people bother getting married anymore? You're just giving up too early and too easily to give it a fair chance. I mean, if you're in an abusive relationship, please find help immediately. If there's huge problems, see if you can somehow reconcile and figure that out. But otherwise, we just give up too easily because we're like, oh, well, I'm 30 now and I don't want to be with this person anymore. Like that's no reason to move on, really.
Absolutely. And I'm going to give a slightly different reason why people give up too easily. I know, coming from a sales background, one of the things that I used to do when I first started off was I'd ask one time, the person would say no, and I'd be, all right, I'm done. I did my job today. I asked for the sale one time, and the truth being known is that you must ask for the sale 7, 8 to 10 times before someone is going to say yes to you, right? I know we learned that, with a lot of the projects we're working on, especially on the crowdfunding that we're working on, and some of the new projects that we're going to hopefully take on as well very soon here. If we gave up too easily, there's so many things that we're missing out because we're not asking the right questions to find out why the person is saying no, right? I think we have to push the envelope and change our habits so we have the opportunity to succeed, in sales or in life.
Yeah, I think the thing that I heard was you need to get your brand in front of somebody 7 or 8 times before they even begin to recognize it or see it as part of their regular normal life. So yeah, sometimes multiple asks or exposures is super necessary.
Absolutely. And you nailed it, right? Because if you look at it, we look at it on TV, that's one place. You look on a billboard, that's 2. You look on social media, that's maybe 3 to 5, depending on what kind of social medias they're on. You look in newspapers and print and magazines, that's maybe 5 or 6 right there. And I'm sure there's a lot more, right? Email, bus benches and stuff like that. And soon you got 7 to 10 different ways people are marketing to you, or different ways people are partnering up and marketing to you. And you don't even realize it, but it's being done so subtle. But, you've seen it now 7 to 10 times. And you're like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna, go with this company and do business with them because they've done some great psychology marketing on you and with you.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your next point?
So my next point was here, things that we could do is study the things that will move your business forward, not just things that are general. Right. So I know a lot of times this is what I used to do. I used to just read books. And again, which I mentioned before, and I thought, reading was going to be great. But now what I've started doing is I need to really read the things and listen to the podcasts that I need today, not just read and listen to podcasts that are just going to tell me about everything. Right. So one of the things I know, I've listened to a lot of different podcasts. And one of the things is, they talk about really high level stuff. And I said, well, I'm not quite there yet. So why am I listening to all these high level podcasts and getting all these amazing ideas when I haven't even built the foundation yet of having just a solid foundation? So I started listening to more solid foundation stuff. So now I'm able to get my footing and my foundation is starting to grow, and my readership and is starting to grow, and I know our listenership on Using Your Power is definitely growing every week and every time we release an episode. And it's doing all those right things. And it took us a while to put out a product because if we had put out a product before we had actually had any experience, it may not be successful, right? So we're doing everything in the right order. But if we had done it first, who knows, we could have failed and may never have continued with this podcast.
Yeah, I'm with you because I'm not doing as much reading as I was before, and sometimes it's not exactly what you need. I mean, the guys at Internet Business Mastery always said just-in-time learning, right? If you don't need it now, save it for later, come back to it when you need it, and just focus on the things you need to learn at this moment. Another thing that, we can all work on this, I think, is like saying negative things or just making excuses about how things are. Instead of taking ownership and taking charge of the things that we need to do to move the project forward, or the things we need to do to be healthier and exercise more or respect others and build those relationships, I think we could do a lot better jobs of that.
Absolutely. Well said, Dave. Especially, I know the economy in North America and worldwide hasn't necessarily been the best because oil prices are well under $100. When oil was at $110, everybody was excited and people were never saying negative things about the economy. The oil, fell to what? I think it was about $27, $29, something like that a barrel. Now it's hovering somewhere between that $45 to $50 a barrel based on when we're recording, but you still hear people say, oh man, the economy is bad, and they're making excuses about why they're not doing things instead of, like you said, taking ownership and saying, the economy may be bad, but what can I do to succeed in this type of economy, right? They're not looking for those opportunities. They're just making excuses of why they don't want to succeed until the oil goes back to 110, where everybody else can also succeed with them.
Exactly. It's a lot of that is just talk, and we get so used to this droning on that goes on with politics and news and such.
Yeah, no, for sure. So the other thing I was thinking about, one of the things that we could definitely change on our current habits, some people do this already, some people don't. This is something I learned when I used to work at the bank was, if you're going to buy stuff on credit, buy stuff on credit. Obviously better to use cash because you actually have it to use. You're not overspending this way, like we were mentioning the last episode, or a couple of episodes back, that most people spend way over what they make. So if you're using cash, you're only going to really spend within your budget. Once we start using credit, we end up paying, 19 to 20% in interest on money that we spent and on money that never existed. So, we really have to start looking at it the right way. Don't create unnecessary debt. That's really what I'm trying to say. And my point here is when we start creating unnecessary debt for ourselves, booking trips and buying things that we shouldn't be buying, just because it's the new, hottest, latest, greatest. Sometimes it's nice to have those things, but maybe wait till it's on sale. Just a thought.
Basically getting better financial habits, right? Something that we could certainly all learn from and do better, I believe. Begin investing in your future now. Read a book like I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi and start getting a handle on your personal finances earlier, sooner rather than later, because compound interest doesn't work for you if you don't start earlier.
Absolutely. And, even people like Robert Kiyosaki, great financial advice. Tony Robbins, great financial advice as well. So, if you don't have access to books for whatever reason or audio programming, you can still go to your library and pick up books if you don't want to buy them at this point, because you may not have the money to buy it, and that's fine. The libraries still have some great options on financial books that you can read, and even online, right? Just going online and finding some articles from, maybe Fortune magazine or Business Insight or whatever type of magazines, and just really finding ways that they can help you with that. And I think Dave Ramsey is another great person out there that can help people with their finance, at least give some good advice. Again, some of the advice, you have to look at it based on your own situations, but it can still be applied.
Yes, exactly. This is something where I think people could be making, a little bit of a tweak to their mindset, which is adopting the attitudes of people you don't want to emulate. So often and I think the reason people do this is, people want to have the cake and eat it too. And so they're like, yeah, I want to build a business, but I still want to hang out with all these people that are going to start messing up with my life and are going to be naysayers and are only going to bring negative things. And I go, they're occupying mind space and not even paying rent, to borrow a term or borrow a phrase from network marketing. But it's so true, right? They're not going to help you pay rent when you have a rainy day. They might be fun to hang around with for a while, but what's short short-term gratification going to do? Because as a business owner, we have to think long-term too. And hey, I mean, with my recent changes, I'm all about fun. I enjoy having fun. I want to have more fun. That's great. But this is message for me as it is for anybody else. I don't want to adopt the attitudes of people I never want to emulate. So that's something to be watchful of.
Absolutely, and I think that's why we read books and biographies about people that we enjoy reading about, right? There's some great books out there of people, Mahatma Gandhi and Mandela and people like that. People that are seen as being great in our society, and those are the people that we want to emulate. There's not typically books written about serial killers and stuff like that. Usually not bestsellers for an exact reason, right? There are some, absolutely, but they're telling about maybe why they did it and what they did. But those aren't necessarily the people you want to emulate, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about, right? It's about picking up the positive versus the negative.
Absolutely.
Awesome. The last thing I thought about was, changing our habits. I know we were talking about sleep earlier, why, not losing sleep is definitely important. Maybe go to bed 10 minutes early, so you can actually get up 10 minutes early. And the idea is when you get up 10 minutes early every single day, spend that time, actually not just jumping out of bed and jumping into the shower and brushing your teeth and hurrying out the door. Maybe have the alarm go off, lay in bed for an extra 10 minutes and just wake up naturally and just allow your body to feel waking up, right? Instead of having to rush, and you don't get to feel anything anymore. Maybe get up a little early and meditate, or read the newspaper, the business section, whatever you enjoy. Maybe eat a meal at home, right? It's a great way to save some money, again, if you eat breakfast at home, instead of having to run out and grab your cup of coffee and donut at your local shop, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing you could do is maybe get up a little early and just find ways and reasons to be grateful. So when you continue today, you can remember those things that you are grateful for when negative things do start impacting you in your day.
Yeah, so some great points there.
Awesome, man. What do you have to say to summarize anything or everything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to say. I think there's all little tweaks that we can make in our lives to support our goals, and we just got to look at it in light of what we're trying to accomplish. Is this something that is going to help me move forward? And if not, what place does it have in my life? I'm not saying it has no place in your life. I'm just saying, could you limit it? Could you take it down to a smaller commitment? Could you stop hanging around people that have no interest in supporting you and just want to cause drama? But you got to look at it always in light of what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. I think, one of the things we all need to look at is our current results. If we're enjoying the results we have, then absolutely keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But if you're not enjoying the results you have, good or bad, then you may want to take a look at maybe changing some of the things you're doing. Maybe sit down with your spouse, or if you're not married, sit down with a friend and say, let's can you help me make a list of everything that you think I'm doing, or maybe help me understand my own personality, and just really start at fresh, start at the foundation and start building yourself up again so you can be the type of person that you wish to be or want to be in the future.
Nice. Well, this has been Using Your Power. Find us at usingyourpower.com for more episodes like this. Leave a comment, leave a message, download the free audio course, or purchase the business audio course that we've put together for you.
Awesome. Have yourself a great day.